Welcome to another workshop. We're going to do leave work at work today. If this is the first time you're attending a workshop, hi, I'm Henry. I'm a life coach, and we're going to dive straight into the topic. So, today is leave work at work because there is nothing worse than having your free time ruined by stress about work, frustration about work, thinking about work, dreading work. So this can all be a thing of the past. All you need is 10 minutes and pen and paper. And we are going to mentally round up the work week. We're all going to be putting all the things that happened during the week in a box, shelve it until we get back to it when our free time is up. So, without further ado, pen and paper at the ready. We are going to start. Leave work at work. First thing, we are going to do a 3-minute brain dump. Shit, I need to check if I am sharing the audio correctly. All right, we're going to start with a 3-minute brain dump. That means you're going to write down all the things that happened that week, all the things that are on your mind, all the things that keep on being on replay in your thoughts. Put them all in a brain dump, and brain dump style just means no need to edit, no need to make it easy to read or have, all the sentences grammatically correct. Just put them all out of your brain onto paper. We have 3 minutes. Okay, that was the brain dump. So now we just have a bunch of lines, bunch of sentences about what happened during the week. Right now, we're going to identify the topics. So You can do this underneath it or on the other side or on a new piece of paper. You're going to go through the brain dump and identify topics. So you can number them, you can do bullet points, but make sure you identify a couple of topics so that you can separate them mentally for yourself to dive into further later. For this one, you only need 1 minute. Okay, so now we have a list of all the things that happened this week, of all the things that are on our minds, some things, some events or situations, or maybe even just comments that people have made that we can't seem to forget about. So, what we're going to do next is basically we're going to park our work, our life, at a dead end. So that means we know where it is. We are making conscious decisions about the situation, but we leave the vehicle. I always think like, all right, let me park at a dead end so I remember where it is, but it doesn't go anywhere. We don't need to do anything with it. It is safe and I can just, leave it hands off until I come back to it. So what you're going to do for each situation, you're going to close the door on the last development. So write down what the last thing was. And then you're going to decide for each situation what your next step will be. And I'll give you an example. There was one time where I had a observation and the observation didn't go well. And my manager at the time changed the observation into an intervention. So afterwards, I was going through all these things and I wrote down that the last thing that happened was literally the observation. We hadn't had any contact since. So I wrote down he that management walked out of the classroom after the observation was done. And I decided that my next step would be to immediately take initiative to do the feedback. I had the observation done and I gave myself, of course, some time to freak out about it. It's not fair. He shouldn't do that. I should have done this differently, etc., etc. But I pretty quickly decided to go and go into it. I didn't want to hide from it. I didn't want to make it worse. I didn't want to wait. So I decided the next step for me will be to send an email with, hey, let's discuss the observation. And funny enough, the week after, I had to do this again because the week after, he canceled. He canceled our meeting. He was sick. Fair enough. Then I noticed that it was still in my mind. It was still, on my thoughts. Every now and then I would be like, am I going to lose my job? How bad was it? Should I do this differently? I decided that because I constantly went into the what if, every time you go into the what if, you go straight to the worst case scenario. What if the worst case scenario comes true? What if your deepest, darkest fears actually come to fruition? Because then you have something to work with. So I decided the last development was him canceling. I was worried that I was going to lose my job. My next step was if I was going to lose my job, I was going to ask for a second opinion. I was going to ask other managers to come and observe my lesson. For me, that gave me a lot of peace because now I had some steps to take. I had a place to go in my mind. So every time my mind was like, we might lose our jobs, I was like, we might, but before that happens, I have all of these things to make sure that I don't lose my job. So you're going to park each situation at a dead end. Write down what is the last development, what is the last thing that you said, what is the last thing that somebody else said, and what are the next steps. You can do the next one step, you can do the next three steps, whatever comes up for you and whatever makes you feel as if you're kind of closing the lid on the situation and shelving it. We're really trying to compartmentalize and trying to kind of get some distance from that situation. We don't need to solve it because we are now ready for our free time. So, how can we pack it up, put it away, and leave it so that we feel good and we can enjoy our free time and we have something to answer our brains with? Because the worst thing for our brain is uncertainty, and we want some uncertainty, and we can create it for ourselves this way by deciding what is the next step. For this one, you have 3 minutes. Good luck. Okay, that was the last step. So hopefully now you have given yourself basically a place to land in between what happens during the week and the next steps you're going to take. And this should give your brain a moment of peace, enough so that you can really enjoy your free time and get ready for the next week. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.